this conversation came up because we were talking about homophobics and the agenda of homophobia in the world. And one set of people feel like they're being offended. Another set of people feels like it's just being forced down our throats, right? And so you and I were talking, and you told me that one point in time you were homophobic, but that started from what was going on in the church.
Well, actually, before that, my dad was really stern on what a man is, supposedly, and those things that exemplify manhood. And anything soft, anything feminine was not manly. So, you know, it started that phobia of, you know, anything soft, anything rough is manly, anything soft is feminine. And so I stayed away from anything that appeared to be soft because I didn't want to appear to be feminine. Quick story, when I was 10 years old, I'm a very emotional person. I've learned how to control displaying my emotions. And I cried at a movie.
Wow.
King Kong.
Oh, okay. A lot of people cried.
You know how they killed him at the end, right? So I was 10 years old. I was devastated. I'm crying, boo-hooing, boo-hooing. And my brother, we lived with my grandmother at the time, and my brother called my father. It was like, oh, Larry was crying over this movie, da-da-da-da-da. And my father ripped me apart.
Oh, wow.
Came over, whooped my butt. To say, I'm a man, men don't cry, and you don't cry over it. So that kind of started that hard exterior for me and what being a man was.
Wow.
So,
yeah, I can see that would definitely put some fear in you. But then as you grew and you developed that, your own sense of believing what your father said and what he taught you, do you really think it was a matter of, because homophobia is fear. There's a reason for you to fear gay people or soft men. Was it really more of like a hate or dislike? Or was it a matter of you just didn't want to let your father down?
Well, it was not a hate at all. I love everybody. I just didn't understand. It was ignorance. I didn't understand why gay men were gay men. And I just didn't want to be around it because, you know, subconsciously thinking maybe they could change me or, you know,
that's
allow me to start liking men or something. I didn't know. It was just a phobia. It was a fear. And, you know.
And I think that's how a lot of us were raised. You know, our generation, we were just taught that that's not what men do. That boys don't cry. You don't play with baby dolls. Whereas the other race, they Caucasian, they raise their children to play with baby dolls, boys or girls. They raise their children, like little girls already got husbands in their head at 5 and 6. This is my husband, and their parents are encouraging it. And they're having baby doll. This is my family. We instill in each other, like, no, stay away from girls. You stay away from boys. And so if as a young girl you're telling me to stay away from boys, then now I'm supposed to like girls. And then you're telling the boys stay away from her, you know. So it's just that whole upbringing that just really had us messed up in our head. So I can definitely understand that. But then as you got older, you was in church. We talked about one of the biggest leaders in the city where we come from at the time being over, who was gay, and over the boys ministry. You were saying like that was something that you couldn't understand either because the church knew he was gay.
Well, he claimed not to be though. So I mean, he was still married technically to a woman, and but it was plain as day, I guess, to most people, but unfortunately and fortunately, he had a strong young male ministry. Where he reached out to the males of the church, the young males, and he kind of, you know, groomed us, if you will, about the Word of God. You know, I don't know about anybody being touched on or, you know, presented with anything sexual, but until later I found out some things. But during that process, he was a great man building young men, and even with, you know, a lot of his issues that he was dealing with as a man.
But that's even hard, like how you even could say he was you can say that now. He was a great man, dealing with his issues, but still your father taught you that that's not
right. Exactly.
That's not a man.
That's right. Exactly.
But this man was feeding you the word of God, and you was.
And that's what drew me to him, was that piece. I never forget it. A book that he gave me to change my life is called The Power of Purpose by Miles Monroe. It's one of my favorite authors, preachers. He's deceased now, but I read that book, and as a 26-year-old man at the time, I was in search of purpose. Like, what is my purpose? What is my design? I didn't know. Coming out of a life of being a womanizer, following my father's lead. My father was divorced from my mom when I was in 2nd grade. I watched how my father lived, and I emulated him. So after going through a harsh breakup in college, I'm like, I'm tired of this. I don't want to be this guy no more. But how do you become a man? What? I can't look at TV. We're not shown as anything other than drug dealers and womanizers on television. The community I'm in, we're the outstanding black leaders that I can follow or emulate. I didn't know. And I found that in church. And he was the guy that gave me the book. Wow. I read the book, so I'm in search for purpose. And I'm like, oh, my light bulbs come on. And I'm like, it came from him. And he's steady reaching out to me. I'm like, as much as I didn't feel comfortable, I continue to go there because he was drawing me with what he was feeding me, if you will.
He was still being fed, and you was allowing him to feed you.
Yeah, I was allowing that, yes.
See, so then when you got older, or as life progressed, you became friends with homosexuals.
Well,
which is like how you end up being roommates and friends with homosexuals when your dad taught you this, then assume homosexuals feeding you the word of God, you receiving that. It's like you. At what point did you just say?
Well, this is the thing. Relationships are relationships.
True.
And God was teaching me a valuable lesson about who He is. And we all have our individual struggles or fights, if you will, and sometimes you have to put blinders on to things we see in the physical, and be able to connect to someone's spirit. And I had to do that, and it was trusting God in the process, because I couldn't have done it on my own strength, because that was a fear of mine. I'm not gay. I don't want to become gay. I don't really want to socialize with somebody that appears to be gay, but it's something about this brother's spirit that's drawing me to him and allowing them to be in my space. And as I opened up and yielded to the spirit, because it was not my flesh at all.
Wow, right.
I allowed certain people to come into my space, and it was probably the greatest blessing of my life.
Because of the friendships that
Because of the friendships that I built. Some of my greatest, friendships was built with, individuals that are not 100% heterosexual.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even in that journey, I was going to ask you, so as you were going through that, learning that, even the spiritual, did you ever experience other men? Did you ever say, let me find out?
No.
Because this is okay.
Absolutely not.
Okay,
no. It's no part of my chemical makeup do I ever or been curious or wanted to do anything sexual with a man.
Okay, so then thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah.
That's just, to me, it's inquiring minds want to know, right? Because the way you got through that, and I love that the Spirit of the Lord led you through that, and now you where you are today, you was criticized, you was labeled gay because of you made these friendships, and then so, like, how did you get where? What was the turning moment and the aha moment after you went through all of that, being taught one thing, being fed by another thing?
Well, I had two turning points, because I'm a person that I don't really judge people's behavior. I'm always looking behind the behavior, what caused that behavior, and what lessons am I supposed to learn through this individual. And going through those processes with these people, I was always thinking, like, what is this for? What is this for? What is this for? This goes against a lot of stuff that I was raised with and what I heard. Like, what is it for? To fast forward, a couple years later, I had group homes for at-risk youth.
Wow.
A lot of the kids I dealt with were raped, were struggling with homosexuality beliefs. if I wouldn't have went through some of those processes I went through before that, I wouldn't know how to service those kids.
That's good.
Because I was so homophobic, I'd have been like, oh, I can't help this kid, I can't. So to learn how some of my friends became, homosexual at some points or bisexual, those processes they went through, them explaining to me, allowing me to take those fear eyeglasses off with homosexuality, I was able to service those kids.
Yes.
And I had one of my dear brothers that struggled with homosexuality for years, but was considered a straight man, had some issues. He was living in a place where, in Ohio, where he needed me to help him put plastic on his windows. Mm-hmm. So I came over to help him do that. And it was just like the pipes were frozen, the sink was frozen. I'm feeling wind damn near blowing through the windows. I'm like, this plastic is not helping. So in my heart was saying, you have 3 bedrooms. Right. I already had one roommate, was a straight guy that I went to college with, whatever. And I'm like, you have another room. This dude can't stay here. He needs to stay with you. But my flesh was saying, oh no.
Don't do it.
They're gonna think I'm gay if I let this guy stay with me. I don't wanna do that. But my spirit man, which is my God man, said, dude, offer him a room at your place. Do you care about what popular opinion, or do you care about what I think about you?
Oh, I love that.
And I had to focus on what God felt about me and say, forget popular opinion. People are finicky anyway. You know how people are. 1 minute you this, 1 minute you that. It doesn't matter. So, but I was young. I was 27, 26 years old.
Even for you to make that decision in your 20s and not care about popular opinion shows you've been on a journey of growth since you were able to understand what it looks like. And so many people, I feel like, that's really what it comes down to. I was looking at a clip the other day. Charlamagne was talking about homophobic men really are just a fear of karma. And then I looked at another clip where a young lady was saying that black women are the most homophobic because everything that a black man does, we'll label it gay. If you're going on a boys trip, oh, they gay.